We make truth here, family. Good morning. As usual, I'm dealing with my little phone. I'm doing the best I can, so don't hate. Anyway, picking up where we left off yesterday. This is Israel's Redemption, and just check out.
The family of Baal, and the word and the letter B means mixed, to mix, those who are mixed. And yes, it's going to be difficult for a lot of people. So when translated literally in the English, it would be the Baal family or the Baal people. I got a message from someone who actually suggested that I should just focus on the Europeans and Yefes. Yeah, and I find it interesting when I get messages from people like that because they obviously don't know a thing about our language. Because if they did, they would know that the Ephah measure or the Ephah measure is in Yefet's name. But I just find it very telling that people like that always want you to just simply skip over and ignore what our forefathers wrote about the angels and those angels' involvement in the lives of humans. But you know what? Let's go ahead and look at the Ephah measure now. Because, about an hour or so ago, I got a message from someone who's basically trying to convince me that I really should be focused just on Japheth, the Europeans, maybe Gezer and all that kind of stuff. But, like I said, they don't know our language. That's the first thing the Most High told me to pay attention to, our language.
Language, people.
And that's what I did. Matthew 13:33, the Ephah measure, or the Ephah measure. They don't tell you what that is in the churches. That's because Baal is not going to tell you the truth about himself. Not inside his places of worship, Baal's house, those churches. But I'm going to show you right now. Now, if you're using some of those so-called modern-day translations, this is how your verse at Matthew 13:33 will probably read. He told them still another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the dough. Now, that's the new version for the one world international satanic religion, the new age. But since we're talking about this measure, let's read from the King James Version. It says, another parable spake he unto them, the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal until the whole was leavened. So there's a clue right there. It's still not translated properly because it says 3 measures. That is the Ephah measure or the Ephah measure because it says the main subject of this verse is the kingdom of heaven. Who comprises the kingdom of heaven? Well, you got the Most High, obviously, but then you have the angelic realm, the angels. So our forefathers likened the kingdom of heaven to leaven. If you know what leaven is, if you've watched my video that I have on here about what leaven really is, you know that leaven literally means mixed. It's not yeast. It means 2 genetically different things that are mixed together. That's what leaven is. And this is what our brother meant when he said that it only belongs to certain ones to decipher the parables, those of us who are of Jacob's house. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. Let's take a look at that Ephah measure. Now, the first thing we want to take notice of is the clue they give us at Matthew 13:33. The clue is 3 measures. Now, in the so-called New International Version, they say about 60 pounds. They put that there. They retranslated that way to throw you off. But the clue that we have in one of the older translations is 3 measures. In our language, that is the ephah measure, or the ephah measure. But the word itself also means serpent. Okay, that's the ephah or ephah measure. It means the serpent measure. The word serpent is just a really couchy way to translate the word seraph. A seraph is from the class of angels in heaven called the seraphim. That is how you break down these scriptures that belong to us. So here's that 3rd measure. It also means triangle. Where have you seen the triangle? You've seen it on your money. That's the ephah measure, the ephah measure, the serpent measure. As you can see, the root itself is Japheth's name. So since you wanted me to focus on Japheth, here you go. The ephah or ephah measure is the root of his name.
Wow.
This is why you always hear me in my videos talking about the fallen angels and the Gentiles. Because if you take the time to study our language, you're going to see all of what they tried to hide in the English language. That's why they gave you the English language, to hide it. Because once you go back to our language, it's all exposed. So the rebel angel that you're dealing with around this time period right now is a seraph, one from the seraphim class. The seraph. Now remember, the Most High said that his people perish because of lack of knowledge. We don't know our own language. We're not trying to learn our own language. We keep following white people thinking they're going to hopefully one day tell us the truth.
Ain't that something?
They're not.
Nope.
They will rub it in your face though. Would you like to see an example of them rubbing this information that I just shared with you in your face?
Bring it.
As a matter of fact, many of you listen to the music. Many of you copy the style of the person they use to rub this in your face, and you don't even realize it. You want to see the ephah measure in your face? This is a picture of Rihanna. This is a screen capture I took. She's performing in one of her videos. She's inside of a triangle, and I'm sure she probably thinks it's just benign. It means nothing. But she's inside the ephah measure.
Wow.
That's what that triangle represents. And wherever they are right now, because there are some on the planet now, wherever they are, you will find the pyramid. The pyramid marks the spot. That's how they mark their locations. See, all this is in the scriptures. In those little 66 books that they thought they were giving us and hiding the rest, they didn't hide anything. That's why you have pyramids all over the place. Wherever those fallen angels have been, you will find a pyramid on this planet. Okay? Let me say that again. Whichever society those fallen angels have gotten into, you will find a pyramid that marks the spot.
Wow.
Egypt. Certain locations in Europe. Here in the Americas. That's why they're there. See, this is a part of that stuff that I don't share. Oh, and by the way, in our language, the word for angel is ear. I-Y-R. But see, we don't use vowels, so you can drop that I and you still have the Y-R. Now spell pyramid. And that's the big picture. This is what's part of that secret information that's in the scriptures. That the Most High said that he will expose himself So they think they've couched all this stuff in mysteries and all that. No, they haven't. And I will say this, because I don't want any Christians falling dead while they're listening to this. You take a second long look at the story about the 3 wise men. The ephah measure is threefold, because that story is not what you've been told it is about. Okay, because remember, the word ephah, or the ephah, means threefold, and it means a triangle. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven that a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal. Threefold measure, the ephah measure. These are talking about angels and them mixing themselves into the human gene pool. Now here's a picture of Rihanna with the serpent or the seraph between her legs. It's highly symbolic. But that picture is a picture of her, and it represents sexual intercourse between a human female and an angel from the seraphim class. So anytime you see these pictures or these movies or these whatevers you're watching and you see these snakes everywhere, especially slithering between some female's legs, and that's what it's all about, folks. That's the root of our problems here on earth. And that's all I'm going to say about the serpent measure, about the ephah measure. The person who suggested that I just focus on the Europeans and Yesses obviously do not know our language.
Folks, I'm going to stop it there. We're going to pick it up again later on. That was dynamic information. I can't get enough of learning about our language, about learning about ourselves. But for me, it just confirms that our language is vitally important. We've got to understand. We've got to. For those who have an ear to hear what Hea is saying to us. To all of Drop Nation family, all others that contribute, got something positive to add to the pot, laying these planks of revelation, of knowledge and understanding. Thank you from my heart of hearts. I thank you. This is M.A. Truth, out for now. Holler at you later.